Why should you care about B.B. King? Well, when it comes to electric blues guitar, maybe no one is more revered or influential. B.B. King was the living embodiment of blues. His powerful singing voice and lyrical guitar work were the perfect pair, and gained him admiration from musicians, critics, and the general public. In a career that spanned 7 decades, he influenced nearly every player who heard him, from Peter Green and Carlos Santana to Eric Clapton and John Mayer. Today, we'll take a quick look at the life of B.B. King, then learn 3 characteristics of his guitar style that you can use in your own playing. Born Riley King in 1925, King's first exposure to music was through an aunt's record collection and within the churches in his home of Mississippi, where he learned his first chords from a guitar-playing minister. In his teens, B.B. began honing his musicianship, both by singing in local gospel groups and playing blues on corners and in clubs downtown. His musical world further expanded after a brief stint in Memphis, which exposed him to top-notch blues musicians, including his cousin, blues great Booker White. King returned to his hometown with a newfound determination to pursue music in earnest, and it didn't take long before he was back in Memphis doing just that. There, he landed regular radio spots as both a performer and disc jockey, and began gaining a regular audience. During this time, King met T-Bone Walker, who would become a key influence on his guitar playing, and it was also during this time that King was given the nickname BB, short for Blues Boy. In the late 40s, King gained popularity while performing in the Beale Street blues scene in downtown Memphis. He attracted the attention of talent scouts and began cutting records under his own name. He assembled a band and toured extensively, playing big theaters in major cities across the U.S. By 1952, he'd scored a #1 hit with 3 O'Clock Blues. The record opened doors for him, and throughout the 50s, King established his prominence with a string of hits and constant touring, regularly playing over 300 dates a year. King continued to record and tour extensively through the 60s, further growing his reputation. His acknowledgement as an influence over a slew of emerging guitar heroes, including Clapton, Hendrix, and Santana, among countless others, gained him exposure to a wider audience. His music had crossed over into the rock and roll crowd, as he made high-profile appearances, opening for the Rolling Stones and headlining a packed show at the Fillmore East, a major rock venue at the time. BB's audience continued to broaden in the 70s. His song, The Thrill Is Gone, became a mainstream hit and earned King his first Grammy. Accolades, prizes, and Hall of Fame inductions continued to follow King through the 70s and 80s, permanently establishing his legacy as a legendary musician and a giant of the recording industry. But he was still far from finished. In the 90s and 2000s, King's career continued to flourish through major collaborations with U2 and Eric Clapton, as well as appearances in TV and film. In 2004, he received Sweden's prestigious Polar Music Prize and would go on to perform for sitting U.S. presidents and even meet the Pope. The state of Mississippi declared a holiday in King's name in 2005, and in 2011, King played to tens of thousands of enthusiastic fans at England's Glastonbury Festival, proving that the love for King and his music was still alive and well into his 7th decade of relevance. Though King passed at the age of 89 in 2015, his music remains a beacon for anyone with even a passing interest in blues. Okay, so let's talk about B.B. King's playing style. B.B. King is known for a lot of things, but I might say that the first among them is his vibrato. You hear it called the butterfly vibrato because your left hand kind of flutters when you do it like this. So you can hear it's a very distinctive sound. Apparently B.B. came up with it, trying to emulate the sound of a slide landing on a note. All right, let's go ahead and give it a try. Okay, so let's go ahead and just find a note. I'm going to play on the 8th fret of the B string, if you want to join me there. And you're kind of rotating your finger on an axis a little bit. And you're just going to kind of quickly flick your wrist to try to create that butterfly effect. This technique is deceptively simple. You could easily spend 10 or 15 minutes just on one finger trying to get it to sound right. And B.B. King used it on every finger, including the pinky. But I just start with your first finger, and if you're not picking it up right away, just spend a few minutes with it and come back to it tomorrow. The next thing we're going to want to learn to sound like B.B. King is actually named after him, and that is the BB box. Okay, so we're going to just keep everything in the key of G for right now. And you might be familiar with this pentatonic shape. If you're not, go ahead and pick that up right now. So that's the shape of the BB box, but what's different is the way that he uses it. Usually we would play this 3 frets up from the root note. So here's my G here. I'm going to start this 3 frets up. But for the BB King box, we are going to move up 2 frets from here, and our shape is now going to look and sound like this. So you can hear definitely a different sound, and the notes that you're going to use within that are also going to be quite a bit different than what you would play down 2 frets. First of all, your root is here with your pointer finger on the B string. And that's that same note that we were just playing, the 8th fret of the B string. Okay, so a really simple phrase to get going would just be to maybe slide into your 2nd finger and land on that root note. It's always going to sound good within the shape to finish your phrase on that root note. Okay, so here would be a real simple one. You can add that butterfly vibrato at the end. Okay, let's try another one. So something else that sounds great within this shape is a bend on your 3rd finger on the B string. That's also bending to a chord tone, so it sounds really good to our ears. Here's a little phrase that we can use there. So just bending up that 3rd finger, then playing it without the bend and finishing on that root note. We can combine that with the first phrase. And here's another bend that sounds really good within the shape. Up on the E string, this bend sounds real good too. So let's try that all together. I'm going to bend up with my 3rd finger on the E string, play it without, pointer finger on the E, bend on the B, without, pointer finger on the root, and back to that 2nd finger on the G string, finishing on the root. The last thing we'll do to get a BB King sound going is mix the major and minor pentatonic scales. It's easy to get stuck thinking that blues is just a minor pentatonic all the way, but BB was playing everything he wanted, major, minor, chord shapes, chromatic notes. So learning how to mix in some major pentatonic along with the minor is a great way to break out of the one-track minor blues thing and also sound like BB King. Okay, first let's take a look at the shapes we'll be using. Still the same key of G, but here's our G root here on the 3rd fret of the E string. And I hope everyone is familiar with this pentatonic shape. Okay, now that's the minor pentatonic. To get to the major pentatonic, we're going to stay in the same position and we'll use the same shape that we just played in that little BB box. So the exact same shape, and if you're keeping track, that's 3 different ways that we can use the same box. And it is that simple. There's our major pentatonic in the key of G. Same shape that we were just using. So here is a very straightforward BB King lick that mixes them both. It sounds like this. You can see we start off in that major and then come back down in the minor. One more time. have it. I hope you learned a thing or two about the great B.B. King. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and click that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this. You can also leave a comment letting me know who to cover in the next video. Thanks for watching. Have fun playing.